connection. We can get started early. Fuck it. We're live with another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. I'm joined by the usual suspect. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
Hey, this is Questionathons. Glad to be here. I'm one of these BS Busters.
Glad to have you. It's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner and proprietor of BS Busters, and we're just gonna dive into it. This is gonna be a shorter cast than usual, just because reasons. But and I have a surprise for you guys later on. Announcement that you guys might be happy about. Those of you who watch. Anyway, let's keep it moving. So the topics for tonight, of course, we got to talk about that Nintendo cast they did for Tears of the Kingdom. And our thoughts on it. And then we're just going to go through 3 lists of questionable choices in gaming that we may agree or disagree with. But let's get started with Tears of the Kingdom first. What do you think, Kenoshi?
I thought it looked pretty good. If you weren't a fan of the first Breath of the Wild, then obviously it's probably you're probably not gonna like this new one because it's more
More
Breath
the
of
same.
the Wild.
Yep.
Yeah. So they in this conference they focus on new abilities. Recall, which is a rewind ability, which is one of the abilities that allows you to get to from the ground to the sky islands. And then there's also a fuse, the fuse ability, which allows you to fuse different items together, give them unique properties.
So you could fuse an
Make your
eyeball with an arrow to create a homing
make,
arrow.
make it a homing arrow.
Yeah. Which is cool,
Negate,
actually. I'll give it points for that. That
yeah,
is cool.
and also negate. Um, Also allows you to fuse weapons together to make them stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Broken weapons. Weapons that break.
yeah,
let me.
still still weapon degradation, which was a point of contention for a lot of people in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then there's new enemies called the construct, which looks like some kind of robotic, ancient magic
So they
robotic
reused the
enemy
Guardians,
showed up.
but with a
Well,
slightly different design.
yeah, um, and also the feasibility allows you to make certain kinds of like vehicles. Like there was an example of uh, Aonuma making a raft out of a couple of wood planks and these mechanical fan things.
Oh yeah,
Um,
a
the
boat, if you
fans
will.
have like a battery operating thing, so it doesn't break, so you don't break the game completely. So
Yeah, but
uh,
people are gonna get this game, download the ROM, and mod the shit out of this.
oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the mods that people come up with, especially with the fuse ability.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I thought it was interesting. I really wish they would have showed more. For whatever reason, they're just trickling out things.
They're
They
being
also,
coy.
yeah, they also revealed the Nintendo Switch OLED Tears of the Kingdom special model.
Yeah.
Uh, it's kind of annoying that these things don't come with games. Like, I don't,
Yeah, they used to come with
I don't,
games back in the day, but Nintendo's been getting greedier and greedier and greedier throughout the years. So
yeah, yeah. So,
that's what we got to deal with these days.
so yeah, that was announced, as well as the Pro controller and the carrying case. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's more Breath of the Wild. If you were really into the last game, which a lot of people were, you know, you're gonna feel right at home. But traditional Zelda fan that was,
A kick in the
you
nuts.
know, this
It was a kick
yeah
in the
felt like
nuts.
you felt like you were betrayed. Well, I'm sorry to
Well,
say this is probably not
no,
the game for you.
no, we didn't feel betrayed. We felt like people who were watching who were fans of traditional Superman, and then saw Zack Snyder with Man of Steel, and were like, "This is not very good." But he said they learned their lesson with the last movie, with the next one, so they might do better. And then you see Batman v Superman, you're like, they didn't learn a goddamn thing. Nothing was learned. No lessons were learned. Here's what I'll say. I think there's some really good ideas in this game. I just wish it wasn't a Legend of Zelda game. Like, if this was some
Yeah.
weird fucking spinoff, I'd be like, okay, cool. But, um,
Oh, one more ability. I don't remember what it was called, but essentially it allows you to negate the climbing stuff in certain areas.
yeah, but couldn't
It
you already do
basically
that
allows you to
anyway in the
phantom
original
run
game?
through. No,
No, because think
not
about it.
no.
If you like, there was the food hack. So even if you were on a sheer cliff with not the best equipment, if you had enough stamina potions or stamina shroom skewers, you could climb a sheer cliff in the middle of a rain, no problem.
Yeah.
It's really, or if you were really cheap, just start a fire and use the hang glider and catch a thermal. It's like the physics engine is broken. And it doesn't
Yeah, I
sound
mean,
like they fixed it.
it kind of is. Because it allows for because it has so many parameters, so many variables that you know, it's just easily you can just easily break it if you know what you're doing.
I mean, the game itself is kind of broken. It's like, oh, you can't glide across there. Like, hell, I can. I know that my character right now is holding onto this hang glider, but I'm gonna pause it and somehow manage to eat something with both hands hanging on my hang glider that's gonna refill my stamina so that I can continue to glide. And I will continue to do that until I get to where I have to go. I will not touch the ground. Really, Breath of the Wild made horses superfluous. Like, people are like, you can have different mounts. Who cares? When you can glide.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop in the middle of the air, equip a fire arrow, shoot it, start a fire, hit a thermal, keep on flying. It was like, I mean, if I can glide everywhere, why the fuck would I ride a horse? Not to mention, your horse can die in Breath of the Wild. So it's like, really, like, I really don't really want a horse now.
Yeah, I never used a horse in that game just because of
No,
the
you
fact
had
that
no reason to use a horse. Horses were useless in Breath of the Wild.
yeah.
They were completely fucking useless. It was like, oh, we've got horses. Why?
Unless,
Why do you
unless
have
you just
horses?
unless you just wanted to ride a horse, but yeah, there was really no point. It was just a lot faster and easier to glide from place to place.
Yeah. Like, oh, you can get a horse. Why? I mean, except some of the horses looked cool. It's like, oh man, this horse is so cool. Okay, yeah, but I mean, it serves no practical purpose.
I mean, if we can get a Pegasus mount, maybe.
Yeah, but they'd fuck it up with that physics engine. They'd have a stamina meter where it could only glide for so long. You know, it's like the mounts just felt like reskins of each other with like hidden stats under the hood, but none of them were fundamentally all that different from one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that kind of made it like I don't really care. You know.
yeah, maybe have different animal mounts. I don't
Well, you
know.
could kind of mount different animals, but most of the really cool ones you couldn't keep. Like you could get one of
Yeah,
the boars that you occasionally saw the moblins riding on, but you couldn't take it to the stable. You could
yeah,
get the king of the hunt, that giant stag, but you couldn't take it to the stable. It's like, well, what's the fucking point of you having all these different mounts if I can't actually like? So much of Breath of the Wild was this is a cool feature. Now, how the fuck does this fit into the rest of the world?
Yeah, exactly.
And this seems like it's going to be more of that. Oh, this is a cool feature. Well, why should I use it though? How does this fit into the rest of the world?
Yeah.
Um, it seems to me, and look, I haven't played the game yet. I know I said I probably won't buy this game, but I probably will just so that I can accurately critique it. So people can't say, "Oh, you didn't even play the game. Why are you complaining about it?" I did play it. I own it, and so I don't think it's very good. Um, but I'll try to be fair. But one of the things that seems to me with the current Zelda team with Breath of the Wild in this game is that they are so hung up on the technology that the fundamentals of how to construct a good Legend of Zelda game is kind of being cast aside.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. This could be a double blind. There could be more going on in this game, and we just don't know about it because they're playing coy. They're holding it close to their chest.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though, and I probably am. So, with that being said, um, anything else you want to say about it? Liked, didn't like? Thought was
Uh,
bullshit?
no, I think it was fine.
All right. Um, yeah, for me, I was not. I think there were some cool features in there, but nothing that really made me say, "Oh my god, I have to go get this out day one."
Yeah.
So, I mean, I want it to be good, but the more I see, I'm just like, this isn't really. I don't think this is gonna do it for me. Um, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, and I have been wrong before. So, anything is possible. Um, you know, I always say never count Nintendo out. you know, but Nintendo been messing up a lot lately, so I don't. This is not the Nintendo that I used to say never count them out. I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, that's all. Yeah. Yeah. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
all right. You pulled a you quoting what's his name you're quoting Forrest Gump on that one. That's all I got to say about that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean like I said, I want it to be good, but like something that's gonna blow my socks off. But after being let down with the previous game, I'm not rushing to be all you know ecstatic with joy about this game. If you get my saying, if you get what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want it to be bad. I'm just saying that there's nothing in there right now at this point that makes me say, "Wow, they really have got a handle on the features that need to be in this game that would make it interesting to a gamer like me."
Yeah.
Keyword: a gamer like me. All right, I'm
Yeah.
a Zelda traditionalist. I like Koji Kondo's tunes. I like Link in his green outfit. I like all that shit. Um, I like that type of music. When it doesn't have that music, I'm not into that.
Yeah.
All right. but I'm not gonna hate on people who don't like that, but it just doesn't do anything for me. But to each his own.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, let's get to these other topics. So, these are some lists. One's from comicbookreader.com, the other one's from The Gamer, and the other one is from Kotaku, which a lot of people hate, but I mean, they're great for getting topics. So, I guess we'll start with Kotaku first. It's Kotaku is 10 meh games that became killer with updates. The first one is Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know what to say to that except I vehemently disagree.
Yeah.
It's still not very good. It's better than it was on a technical level, like a lot of the bugs got squashed. But
Yeah.
it's like as someone who has played the tabletop game, they treated Cyberpunk 2077 like The Witcher, which is a series of
Yeah.
short stories set in this grim, dark universe, mythological universe created by this Polish author. Whereas, like, Cyberpunk is a tabletop game where the joy of it is basically you being in a sandbox and having all this stuff going around you and you realizing that you're just a cog in the machine. But if you get powerful enough, you can actually, this cog might be able to change a little bit of what's going on around you. And they completely cast this away to tell their own kind of badly promoted story.
Yeah.
Their badly realized story in their own universe. Basically, they pulled a Fallout 4 with Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
But apparently there's like some DLC coming. Like the one big piece of DLC coming where it's like a spy thriller where there's like some stuff going on. They got Idris Elba in it, so I mean that might save it a little bit if you're an Idris Elba fan. I kind of don't like. I acknowledge Idris Elba's a great actor, but I know him as Stringer Bell from The Wire, who was a piece of shit drug dealer. So every time I see Idris Elba, I'm like, you piece of shit, Stringer, fuck you.
Yeah.
Next game, Destiny.
That game still isn't as interesting, I guess, as it could have been.
Yeah, but it got a lot
It
of
was,
better with the DLCs. Really did kind of make that game better, but it's not what it was.
yeah,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
it wasn't what it was meant to be. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say it's gotten better.
yeah. That game was supposed to be kind of like a Star Wars. Was going to be Bungie Star Wars.
Yeah.
And because they got pissed with the guy who wrote the script and had like the big design for it, they had to scrap all of their shit and start from scratch. And what you got was just basically a looter shooter. And
Yeah.
it's like, so much potential wasted. So I disagree. I mean, yeah, it got better, but it's not what it could have been. Warframe.
Yeah. I haven't played a ton of Warframe. I heard it wasn't very very good from the start, but
It got better over
I've
time.
heard,
Yeah.
yeah, got a
Here's
lot better.
Yeah, here's what I'm gonna say about Warframe. What I like about Warframe is that mechanically, even back in the day, it was still pretty good because the people who made Warframe are a lot of ex-id software people. If anyone knows how to make a good first-person shooter, it's those people. So mechanically,
Yeah.
when it first started, it was sound, but it's just gotten better over time. People like to talk about Fortnite, which I haven't played Fortnite now. I have no want or desire to play Fortnite, but what I can tell you is that people have been sleeping on Warframe, but Warframe, in my opinion, is much better than Fortnite. Because there's an
Yeah.
actual story involved with Warframe. There's stuff going on. You just have to play an extremely large amount of it in order to, like, you got to put 30 hours into Warframe before you get into the actual story of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I just don't like. There's too much other. I like to play single player games. I don't like to play multiplayer games, especially online multiplayer
Yeah.
games. But if I was into that, I would play Warframe. So I agree. Yes, it did get better with updates. Halo: The Master Chief Collection. Um, I mean, I guess on a technical level, yeah, it got better with. But I mean, that game came out where the original three games played really well on the original hardware, and then they ported those games over to the Xbox One, and they fucked it up.
Yeah.
Like the multiplayer didn't work. And if there's one thing that people have always said that Halo does better, like one of the best at this, it's online multiplayer.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even get that right. I was like, how are you messing up something so simple like that? Well, we did.
That's what we do.
Which kind of just proves that 343 Studios is not like, even though Bungie lost half of their people, you could tell the good people went with Bungie and the people who couldn't hack it went and stayed at 343, created 343. Because
Yeah.
clearly the talent went with Destiny.
Yeah, and clearly Destiny has been the more successful franchise.
Because Halo's kind of, uh, I mean, what's the way to say it? How can I say this nicely without being called a dick? It's kind of gone down the old. It's kind of gone down the toilet. They could have saved it
Yeah.
when they brought Craig back, Craig the Brute. But they were like, "Oh no, these graphics are terrible." I'm like, "Yeah, but y'all should have leaned into it." Yeah, Craig the Brute's a playable character. He's the new Arbiter. I'm like, this would have been awesome. Could you imagine
Yeah.
playing as a character who just like we gotta save the world, Craig? Well, whatever. He has that look on his face like, I don't give a shit. Save the world, don't save the world, don't care. Let's do this. You know, it's like
Yeah.
they could have made it a running joke. His big thing is the only reason he sided with Master Chief in saving the world and humanity is because he just wants a bowl of Cheerios. That's
Yeah.
his passion, a bowl of Cheerios. No, they're like, nah, we can't do that. I'm like, y'all just fucked up. 343, y'all. There's a reason y'all lost half your people. Next game, Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, they had to remake that entire game.
Yeah, they had to destroy it in order to remake it.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of sad, really. And the guy who spearheaded that is now in charge of making the new Final Fantasy 16. The only problem is that he's saying that JRPGs are a dirty word, and I'm like, please don't turn into an artiste. Like, you make a product, and people expect the product to be a certain way. Stop trying to get all artistic with the shit.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem with that whole statement. It's like, you can't make higher quality turn-based games. I mean,
Look at Octopath Traveler.
Octopath Traveler and
Octopath Traveler 2.
yeah.
Like,
I was talking about turn-based games in general.
oh yeah.
But not just JRPGs, but even stuff like your Divinity 1 and 2. And yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. They just don't. I know people have been looking at the Japanese sales for Octopath Traveler 2, but it's not like they pushed that game.
No, they just kind of shat it out
Heavily.
there. But it seems to be doing pretty well, though. Like, everyone likes it.
Yeah.
The sales are pretty good, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's still in the top 10
I mean, shit, you know.
at least week, right? So I don't know. They would have pushed Octopath Traveler like they did Forspoken, or at least maybe not as
Yeah,
heavily, but
but they didn't
somewhere
they didn't really
close.
push Forspoken. They kept it quiet, and then they had like a huge amount of some of the worst trailers cut for it, and then acted surprised that game bombed.
Ah, maybe I'm thinking of another game that they pushed really heavily. Uh, well, whatever. They didn't push those kind of games.
Yeah,
Uh,
but Square Enix has a
for
problem.
some reason.
They Square Enix, when it comes to niche titles, they do pretty well, but when it comes to their like big huge titles, like I can tell you right now that the highest selling JRPG list does not include a Final Fantasy game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right now, which tells you something. But anyway, yeah, Final Fantasy 16, they brought that game back. It was you know,
Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
people
Final
like
Fantasy
it.
14. They brought it back, but they had to destroy it first because the other people had fucked it up so badly, which tells you something. Also, with a lot of community support and community feedback from people who had
It's actually
invested time
embedded.
into it. What?
The fact that they had to destroy the previous version of that game is actually embedded into this overall
Yeah, they
lore
had to pull an
of the
apocalypse
14
thing in
universe.
order to destroy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then next game, Elder Scrolls Online. I disagree. They say that this game got better with time. I say that when it came out, it was originally when that. Have you heard the? Have you heard the making of this game, like the behind the scenes? When this game was
No.
first being created, like in the test, in the alpha and beta stages, they wanted to make it into basically what SWTOR was for the longest time, just a World of Warcraft with an Elder Scrolls skin. And then they had to revamp it, and it still came out as a broken, buggy piece of shit. But this is a Bethesda. This is a
No.
ZeniMax slash Bethesda game, so clearly that's not a surprise. Um, and then over time, it just became MMO Skyrim.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's just MMO Skyrim. So if you like Skyrim, oh, but you can't really mod it because it's multiplayer, so you can't add your own shit to it to make it better. So it's MMO Skyrim, but you can't add mods to add better content to it. So it's an inferior Skyrim with other
Wow.
people in the game bothering you. Because I was playing this game and because I got it on sale, because I was like, sure, I'll try it, because it was like $10 for the base game, and I think it was like another 10 for all the DLCs, and I'm like for all the expansions up to a point, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll play it, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, this isn't that good. Like I'm in the tutorial area, and just some other motherfucker is running around looting everything before I can get to it. I'm like, this is like, oh god, who the fuck said they wanted to play an Elder Scrolls game with online multiplayer? Ugh. That breaks my immersion.
Yeah.
Next game, GTA Online. um,
That game never. I hear people bitch about that game all the time still.
yeah,
People, especially on PC, it's really broken.
I mean it. The online's broken all around because the game is basically designed for
Yeah, you have to get a shit out of a big old bag of money if you want to be successful in that game.
Yeah, the problem with GTA Online is that it's designed to be, the economy is designed to make you either spend a huge amount of time playing the game, which most working adults don't have that type of time, or you spend money on microtransactions, and that's how they make money. Which is one reason when I play GTA 5, I just use the mods to bring the online content to the single player, so then I don't have to pay a fucking dime. Because I'm like, fuck you, Rockstar. So no, I don't think the online. Yeah, the online has a lot of cool content, but that's content that should have been in the single player, and that I would have gladly paid like 10, 15, $20 a pop for all those deals, for all those expansions. And they just were like, "No, we want to milk you until you're dead, until you're dry as a bone." So I was like, "Yeah, okay, no, thank you." I played GTA Online when it first started. I maxed out my character, and then I was like, "I'm done."
Yeah.
And I did it over a summer. Like I took the summer, I took off 3 months. I was like, yeah, I'll play it, and I played it religiously for 3 months. So no, it was 2.5 months. Maxed out my character, got a decent house, and then they implemented after that. They implemented fees. So basically, every day in game, like every in game, every real time day is a week in the game, and you have to pay rent at the end of the week, and they take money out of your account. So you're forced to either continuously play the game in order to earn enough money to support your lifestyle, or
That's stupid.
you spend money on a shark card to load up your bank account. And here's the thing, everything's hyperinflated. So you could be a millionaire in this game, and you'll, if you don't do any jobs, you just dick around, you'll be broke in like a real world week. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, GTA Online is
That's
trash.
that is dumb. That
And
is
it's
like
predatory.
that yeah, that seems more like chores.
Well, I
You
hate
know,
to
it's
break this
like
to you, but
what's
that's how Rockstar makes a lot of their money.
yeah, I know. God dang, that sounds awful.
Oh, it is. It
It does
is.
sound incredibly predatory as well.
It
Oh,
is.
that's
It
gross.
is.
That
It,
is so
it's
gross.
it's the reason why like everyone's like, "Oh man, GTA 5, it's so great." I'm like, not really. It's okay. It's not great.
I don't play video games to, simulate real life. I play video
Yeah,
games
people are
real
like, "Oh,
life
that's
and
more
real.
realistic." It's like, look, man, I pay bills in real life. Why the hell would I want to pay bills in a simulated reality? That
Yeah, I mean,
is,
there's other ways.
I'm just saying, that's insane. You know, at least in other games, you can kind of just, it's just your own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you play Harvest Moon, you pay bills, but there's this point where it ends. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But anyway, next game, next shit. Gotta find it. Next game, Rainbow Six Siege. They turned Rainbow Six, which used to be a single player, um, you know, um, tactical shooter, into a multiplayer shooter with microtransactions. So, no, it didn't get better. Fuck you, Ubisoft.
yeah,
No Man's Sky. Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
heard that game got better.
yeah. It's still not what it should have and could have been, but compared to what it launched as, yes, it is much better. The only problem is
Yeah,
it's like Warframe where you have to put like 30, 40, 50 hours into the game in order to get to the good shit.
yeah,
Like, hey, you want to get to the thing where you can like build like capital ships and a colony and like start boarding like derelicts and like fight your way through. Oh, you got to put 50 hours into this game. I'm like, man, that's JRPG shit right there.
yeah,
That's some JRPG shit. I'll do it for JRPGs because I can mod those, but not for No Man's Sky. Number 11, I'm sorry, the last game, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I agree. That got better with patches, especially the unofficial patches, which like add new content and give better graphics and restore content that was deleted. There's other mods that like add new clans, new playable character builds. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like a fan community coming together to make something better. So
Yeah.
that's it. That's the first list. Overall, I have to say, um, only about half of that list. Actually, no, less than half. Like 3 of those games I agree with. The other, I'm gonna say, nah, they're still kind of shitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
I beg to differ. Au contraire, mon frere. We have another list from Kotaku. It's 11 bad games we'll die defending. Number 1, Mass Effect Andromeda.
I don't know about all that, bro.
No. No.
Mm.
No. No, 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 no. Here's what I'll say about Mass Effect Andromeda. The premise of like basically humanity and all these other species realizing that the Reapers, they can't beat the Reapers, so they send a ton of their people and arcs to another galaxy. Cool premise. The execution was absolute shit.
Yeah.
Like people were pulled from this game that could have been fairly decent to go work on a game that was canceled, that was canned after a year after it came out. Anthem.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Mass Effect was one of the major cash cows of BioWare, and they put their B team in charge of their next Mass Effect game and put their A team on Anthem, and both games suffered because of it.
Yeah.
So no, it's still bad. Okay. Next game, Shadow the Hedgehog. Now,
No.
I have to agree that I enjoy Shadow the Hedgehog. I know it's not a good game, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to qualify my statements. I know it's not a good game, but the idea that there is that Sonic the Hedgehog's alternate dark evil version of his character uses guns and drives a motorcycle is hilarious to me, and I'm glad that it exists.
Yeah.
I'm glad that there's a version of Sonic that Sonic's alternate version is dark and more badass than Sonic will ever dare to be. Because all Sonic does is eat chili dogs and run fast. And in order for him to go Super Saiyan, he's got to have like 6 Chaos Emeralds. Not Shadow. All Shadow needs is 1 Chaos Emerald that he can go into Chaos Control mode. He's faster than Sonic.
Yeah.
He's more badass than Sonic. And he drives a motorcycle and shoots people in the face. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Shadow the Hedgehog is a better character than Sonic the Hedgehog. And also, his game was more interesting to me than Sonic the Hedgehog, where it's like, oh, he's got to fight Dr. Robotnik. He's always got to fight Dr. Robotnik. If it's not Dr. Robotnik, it's Dr. Robotnik adjacent. So yeah, I have to argue. I actually will say that Shadow... Now, I know Shadow the Hedgehog is not good, but I just enjoy the idea of it existing. Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 13-2, and Final Fantasy 13-3 Lightning Returns. Fuck you, all those games are bad.
Yeah, those games are terrible.
All of them. The first one plays, you could tell that it was made by people who never understood what a Final Fantasy should have. 13-2 was just a shitty knockoff of Chrono Trigger, and 13-3 was a shitty knockoff of Majora's Mask. Fuck you, all those games are bad. They will never be good. Remember when Square Enix tried to make Lightning into a character? They tried to make Lightning into a thing. They're like, Lightning's our most popular character. I'm like, bullshit. It's Cloud Strife.
Yeah.
And I don't even like Cloud Strife, but I know he's their most popular character. That and that fucker from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. That game is not bad. It's hard as hell.
Some interesting ideas. Yeah.
It's hard as hell. It's not well balanced, but it's not bad. Here's what I'll say about Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. People always say it's a bad game. No, it's not, because there wasn't a Zelda formula yet. The Zelda formula wasn't cemented until Zelda 3. So Zelda 2 was just the next game in the series where they tried something new.
Yeah.
Okay, now that Zelda game they made for the 3DS that was built in the Link Between Worlds engine that basically was just like Link, where you could change his class by giving him different outfits and shit. That's a bad game.
Yeah.
It's like y'all spent time on this shit instead of a proper Legend of Zelda sequel to to Link Between Worlds. Fuck you. But Zelda 2 is not a bad game. Now, Shadow Link is a cheat motherfucker who you have to cheat in order to beat, but it's not a bad game. It just the formula wasn't established, so people weren't used to them trying something different. But they did that shit all the time. Like Final Fantasy 1 to Final Fantasy 2. Final Fantasy 2 plays completely differently from Final Fantasy 1, but the formula hadn't been established yet. So, I'm not going to say 2's a bad game. I'm like, no, you just weren't used to it. It was something different. Oh. You know what this next game is after Legend of Zelda 2?
What's
The
that?
Order 1886. Fuck you. No, that game is
No.
bad.
That was a tech demo.
That
That
game
wasn't
was a
even
tech
part of
demo
the
that they
game.
charge people for.
Yeah. Full price.
$60 for a 3-hour game. That was cropped at 1080p and 30 frames per second on this next gen hardware, and most egregiously was still using fog effects to keep the frame rate stable. Fuck you. No.
Yep.
No. That was a bad game. Metroid Other M. Ooh, boy. Okay, I know there's some people who defend that game and say that it's not that bad. I will say that mechanically, Other M is not a bad Metroid game. Like, the combat is pretty good. The gameplay is, I'd say 80%
Gameplay
of the
is all
gameplay is pretty
right.
good.
They watered it down. They watered the gameplay down significantly, though.
The problem with that game is that it didn't know what it wanted to be, because it was coming off of the Metroid Prime trilogy, which, even though each game sold less, like all those games were over 1 million sellers, so they were very profitable. And so they had aspects of that game that wanted to be a first-person shooter. They had aspects of it that wanted to be a beat 'em up. They had aspects of it that wanted to be a traditional Metroidvania. And I'm like, pick a genre, fucking stick with it. Because very few games can have a lot of shit mixed in and work. And Metroid Other M was not one of them. Also, they undermined Samus's character, which is very basic, but very, they undermined the shit out of it. They made a stoic, no nonsense character who the only time she really loses her shit is when there's space pirates around. She goes psychotic with that. But aside from that, she's like, I have to kill. I'm about business. And they turned her into a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, they could have handled that. They could have handled their characterization a little bit better.
Yeah, like one of the few strong female protagonists in gaming, and you guys turned her into a whiny little. Well, she's got a post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm like, you could have handled that so much better than the way you handled it.
Yeah, it could have been that writing could have used a little bit.
A major punch up.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 6. Now, I'm gonna say something unpopular. Some people are gonna get mad at me when I say this. Resident Evil 6 is not a good game, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's absurd. Like having Chris Redfield punch a boulder into a volcano to stop the volcano from erupting. I'm like, this shit is stupid, but it's funny at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like Resident Evil 6 is where the franchise says, fuck it. We don't know what we're doing anymore. Fuck it. And I love it. I love how much they don't care in that game. People got mad. You should take this shit seriously. How could you take a series seriously when it started out stupid? RE1, stupid. RE2, a little bit less stupid. RE3, stupid. RE4 is an action movie. Because Leon Kennedy does insane shit. His hair never gets out of place.
Yeah.
All right, like the fact that you're like RE4, one of the alternate costumes for a North African woman is a cheetah skin toga with a bone in her nose,
No,
and you're
that's
taking
fine.
this shit seriously?
That's fine. Like Capcom's games always have been. They've always had a bit of a silly side to their games.
Yeah,
I mean,
you want to play
it's
a
kind of
hard,
weird that people act like.
yeah, yeah. You want to play a hardcore game from Capcom? Go play Mega Man X. That series is dark as fuck. That series, like the original Mega Man, is actually like, even though you're like, oh man, Dr. Wily's evil, you do realize that the city where all this shit takes place is a model robot city. Humans are out living their lives in the rest of the world. It's an automated city where all this shit's happening. So basically, Mega Man just keeps on getting sent in to like one place where Wily's robots are like Wily's doing fucked up shit in one location. It's not the entire world. Mega Man X heavily implies that robots have basically destroyed most of the humans in the rest of the world. Think about that shit. That's dark as fuck.
Yeah.
And if you extrapolate it even out further into the Zero series, like the Zero series, there's no humans left. The little humans that are left, the few humans that are left, had to fuse with robots and become organoids in order to survive.
Wow.
There are no humans left. Everyone's like a fucking organoid. They've all basically turned into synth organic fusions like Mass Effect. I mean, listen, but you know, we have to take Resident Evil series, six. We have to take Resident Evil series, a series that began with a bad translation where a guy says a woman is a Jill sandwich, and now you're the master of unlocking. But we have to take this seriously. Okay, all right.
Wow.
Okay. Life is Strange. No. Life is Strange is terrible.
Yeah.
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. That's the last one. And what were you gonna say about Life is Strange?
I was gonna say I thought it was okay. I mean, there were some interesting ideas that they were going for, but I just thought the characters. I never finished the game. I just thought the characters were kind of annoying.
Meh. Yeah. For me, I saw someone playing Life is Strange, and I was like, I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I was just, I'm underwhelmed. I just, it's an underwhelming game. It's underwhelming. Next game, PlayStation Battle Stars Royale. That was just bad because it was a Smash clone that they desperately didn't want it to be a Smash clone. But I'm like, if y'all had just ripped off Smash Brothers, it probably would have been better.
Yeah, they did a lot of weird things that breaking that game.
Like, first of all,
some characters like Kratos that were just absolutely broken.
Well, I mean, they had characters who weren't even PlayStation exclusives in the game. Like, they had Big Daddy from BioShock. BioShock was on fucking everything. They had they had fucking Dante from Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry was on on everything. Hey Hachi, like Tekken was never a console exclusive to PlayStation. It's been on other shit.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I mean, it just showed how shitty how shitty Sony's first party has been, and how they just don't give a fuck about. Like, first parties for them are just enough. They give a fuck about first parties in the generation that first party game is in. After that, they're like, fuck it. And that's why Sony will never have first parties as strong as Nintendo or even Microsoft's, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Last topic before we wrap things up, because I know you got to leave in a moment. 10 best JRPGs of all time. Now, some of these on this list are not JRPGs. I'm just going to say that right now, in my opinion. Number 10, Elden Ring, has sold over 20 million units in under a year. Sorry, in over a year. So, I mean, it has
That's not more
levels.
of
You
an
level
action
up.
adventure game.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
give credit to From Software because they made a hardest balls game that didn't have predatory microtransactions, and it did well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 9, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Fuck that game. That's not a JRPG, but apparently it is by their estimations. Sold over 20 million. It's 20,610,000. So
Yeah.
there you go, folks. Pokemon is badass as fuck. Monster Hunter World. That's not a JRPG. I'm not counting it, but it's at 21 million.
Yeah.
Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. These are the originals on the GBA. 23 million.
Yeah.
Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. 24 million. Almost 25. It's like
Yeah.
24,730,000. Oh man, this is how the Pokemon Company prints money, folks. Pokemon Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. See, they're combining those two games. 25 million. That's kind of cheap.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, but fuck it. Pokemon Sword and Shield. 25 million. Okay, number 3. Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. 29 million.
Jeez.
Oh god. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. 30 million. That's not a JRPG. Fuck you.
It's not a JRPG.
I would argue
Yeah.
say Pokemon isn't a JRPG.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the number one king of all JRPGs sold has been, will always be, and is still Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue. 31,380,000. God damn.
Yeah.
I can understand the OG original because I bought red, blue, and yellow so I could trade with myself. So that I didn't have to, because people would, even back in the day, people would give you shit trades. You know, like you would trade a Pokemon and they give you a shit trade. Like, hey man, why'd you give me a shit? Like they send you like some bullshit where it's like, come on man, you know you're wrong. But anyway, um, that's it. Anything you want to pimp out before you wrap things up?
Project Console. We didn't have it this week because it's stuff I needed to take care of. We'll have it next week. We should have a big blowout show next week. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. A lot of
7:30
topics.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll load a bunch of topics next week. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Red Fox.
Yeah.
I'm proud of BS Busters. I have an announcement. I'm in the process of working on getting some hardcore Fallout fans into my cast in order to do a special cast. It's gonna be a long form one where we're gonna talk about Fallout and what we want to see in a future game. All right, those are gonna be the topics. It's gonna be fun. I'm trying to get Quan Manchu involved in it, but he's got weird hours. I have a guy that I work with who is a hardcore Fallout fan who I know I can probably get on a cast. So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. You can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com. There's also a link to the Discord where if you can leave comments, we'll answer your questions. I think we have a question we can answer real quick from one of our panelists. What does everyone think of the Mario movie? I think everyone else in that movie is giving 100% except for Chris Pratt. I think he got that job because he's Chris Pratt, not because he's a good voice actor.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. It's again, his voice doesn't offend me that much. It's for me it's tolerable, but Yeah, everybody else is much better.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
mean,
kind of a
it's not that his
yeah,
voice
yeah.
offends me. It's just, it's like one of those things where, like, have you ever been at a job where you see someone get a position and you know there was someone who was better, and you see that
Yeah.
person fucking up, and you're like, man, there was like a perfectly good person that could have had that position and would have done a much better job than you're doing, and you're just fucking it up. And that's what it feels like with Chris Pratt. It's like, oh man, there's so many better people that could have done voice acting here, and you're just fucking it up. Um,
Yeah.
or not even trying, really. He's really just not trying. Like, there's no trying whatsoever. Um, and that bothers me because I'm like, I mean, it's a symptom of a greater thing because Nintendo started sucking the ethnicity out of Mario for years and years and years. Like they changed his age to make him younger. You know, it's just annoying. But it is what it is. Anyway, that's my opinion. You have any thoughts about it before you wrap things up?
No,
All right.
that's it.
That's the end of the podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, we're on YouTube. Once I finish upgrading my streaming PC because the RAM that they sent me was 32 gigs, and it's the wrong it's the wrong timing, so I had to send it back and get some that actually matches the RAM that I have in there, so I can get up to 64 gigs. So trying to get up to 64 gigs of RAM because I'm crazy like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at stuff to shrink my setup. Because I don't know what is gonna happen. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm probably gonna end up moving next year
All
at
right,
some point. So I'm just looking for something smaller. Uh,
all right. Well, knock yourself
but
out.
yeah,
I'm living where I'm living, so I have the space.
yeah,
I'm upgrading my streaming setup because right now in my PC I'm using right now, my gaming PC, it's like 32 gigs of RAM, which is fine for most things. But if I'm trying to stream a video game, I don't need the memory. I don't need my computer struggling to stream while also rendering the game at a decent frame rate. So I I'm that's why I'm upgrading my streaming PC. Anyway, that's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining us. We're trying to grow the channel. We had about 4 new people subscribe, so we're trying to grow the channel some more. Get back up to some decent numbers. Peace. Good night. Share and play your games.